So today I'm making a very special roast. I'm making the perfect braised pot roast with a stout braised pot roast with autumn root vegetables. Canola oil in here. What I've done is I bought a chuck roast and I've had it tied at the butcher, and I've done a very important thing. I've seasoned this overnight. We put a lot of salt and pepper on it, 24 hours in the refrigerator, uncovered. Now we're gonna put a little bit more on. Okay, so chuck roast.
And that almost dry brines it too and helps those proteins break down and draw out the moisture out of it.
I even do this with like ribeye, you know the ribeye you cook? I actually cook that, I season it a couple hours ahead of time, put it in the fridge. Because it just needs it. You can never get into the center of the meat with the seasoning. Okay, so a little bit of flour, right? And this is just to get a little bit of a crust and help start the juices sort of to thicken just a bit. You don't have to put too much on, all right. Then a smoking hot pan. Did I say smoking, Jeff?
I see it smoking.
Smoking hot.
Happening.
And meaning, and I don't put olive oil in here, that would be a waste of money because it's a low smoke point. Grapeseed oil, avocado oil even. And I'm just using canola today.
GZ doesn't waste money.
I don't want to waste money.
But he likes spending it.
Spend money, someone has a job.
Look at this guy.
Okay, in here. And then what do we do when it sits like this?
You put on some Sinatra.
Exactly. No, you basically don't touch it. It's really important not to touch it. And this takes time. Do not rush this process. It's really important. Okay? Step 2, our vegetables. So step 1, we're doing this now, and we gotta speed it up. It takes time. 4 sides, not just up and down. And it comes out looking gorgeous like that. You see that? So this is totally raw, but that's the way it's supposed to look. We take it out, we put it here. We leave the fat in the pan. Because that's where the love is. And so to that fat, we add our autumn vegetables. Now, that's a loose term, autumn vegetables. And here we have carrots, red onions, cut big, because they're gonna need to be cut big. They're gonna cook for a long time. We have turnips. You could put potatoes in here. You could put rutabaga, whatever you wanna have, but try to make them cut large and really get a nice sear on them, okay? A couple of bay leaves, some thyme, some garlic, and a little bit of tomato paste.
This is a great way to feed a crowd for not a lot of money, too.
Really get that tomato paste, you want to cook it down just for a second, just to like, activate it, all right? And then to that, we're gonna add our beast, our roast beast. All right, right like that. So let's put our beer in here. The stout really gives it a kind of like a depth that's great. So if you want to shoot liquid out of a bottle faster, you just get it going like a tornado. Seriously, go like that, and it just comes out really fast.
You have to have your arm at a 90-degree angle?
90 degree. Beef stock. Now, we're not covering it totally. It's like about 3/4 of the way.
The rules of the braise.
Now, what we've done before is we preheat our oven. I like to cook between 300 and 350. Our particular oven's at 300. And it's gonna take a good 3.5 hours. Don't, this is 180, 185 internal, but I wouldn't even go internal. This one, if you just touch a skewer or a fork in it, it should just come out, almost fall apart.
Fork tender.
Fork tender. All right, let's go in. Jeff, would you help me out here? Bottom oven.
Sonny's actually closer. Okay.
Thanks,
I was
Sonny.
gonna turn this off.
I get some help, thank you. No, the bottom one.
Sorry, bud.
Jesus.
I got you, man.
Okay.
It's like weightlifting with that thing.
Thank you.
Do you need a spot? You good?
I got it.
Right. I got you. Not even touching it.
It's a good thing you've been at the gym, so
All right, look
Relax,
at that.
he's at the gym, Jeff, you know?
See that?
Yes.
Okay, so that's like almost. Okay. See everything, see how dark that liquid is?
Yep.
That's the beauty of that. Okay.
So almost got it.
I saw you. You were getting it. You were going to burn your mouth on that. You didn't care, though.
I just want to taste the juice.
Okay. You can see we had about that size before, and it didn't shrink that much.
Not much.
So this feeds a lot of people. All right.
But everything that the beef lost in volume has been reintroduced into the juice, so it's all flavor still. It's edible.
Dare I say Flavor Town? So on the side, what I've done while this is reducing is I've mixed a little bit of peas and onions. These are frozen. I put them in a pot, very low, with a good amount of butter.
I see it. They are glistening.
So we're gonna start to plate. I like to plate this. Now you could just bring this to the table, which is fine, but we're gonna do a little bit different plating here.
And you don't have to strain it. I mean, you're not going through all that, reducing the sauce.
I mean, I'm reducing it, but just a little bit, because this is more of a juice than a sauce. A sauce is like, and you know that flour we put on, it just provided just enough glaze.
Our girl's mouth's watering.
Yeah, and so all of these vegetables have just given up their flavor to the stew. And 3.5 hours is a long time, okay? And why don't we start to slice?
Yeah,
She's waiting. I know.
You're
Who was the first person? Do you always do the first person thing? Who was the first person that took cast iron and made an awesome Dutch oven out of it?
I don't know.
Look at that juiciness.
Let's
I
save
love
that
a
for
big old
sandwich.
fat
Look
chunk.
at that. Look at that.
Here, I know you want that.
Jeezy, come
There's no sauce in it now, so, okay, just beware. Okay.
You don't even have to have tea for this.
Well, that day's coming.
Oh, jeez.
No, I'm kidding. No, it's like
Take great care of
terrible.
those.
I speak about myself, actually.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
so
so
the juice.
beefy.
Right, hold on. Wait, there's more. There's more. So don't oversauce it, and then beautiful pea, butter, carrot mix, butter, pea, and onion mixture on top.
That is so smart.
Wow.
Yeah. We got bright. It's like better than parsley.
Well, I mean, like, right, pot roast usually has a reputation of being like a kind of a drab, looking
Yeah,
dish, but look
muddy
how bright.
flavors.
A little fresh tarragon, which always goes nice with the veggies.
Tarragon.
Some
Never
fresh
heard
chives.
on the pot roast. What a good idea.
Tara.
Tara,
God is my witness. Never.
You ready?
Again. I am Iron Chef ready. I am Chopped Judge ready. I am ready to go.
This is the way you want to start off a meal in the fall, right? Look at that blue
Heck yeah.
vegetables.
It's like the
And that
ultimate
nice
fall
chunk there
dinner.
of
I think
carrot.
red onion
know-
is my favorite onion next to the Vidalia onion, right?
Just for
Sweet
your,
onion.
just to
That's
let
just
you
like your
know, Sonny,
opinion, man.
that orange thing is a carrot. I know you might not.
no, Sonny's been eating veggies.
Just want to let you know.
He's been eating a lot of vegetables on this show. We've all seen it.
I know, Sunny is.
Don't dish it unless you can take
I
it.
know.
I can take it. So I went in for the carrot first.
Carrot.
Wow.
But first, let me talk about the beef. Leave it up to the least expensive cut of beef to taste
Yes.
the most beefy.
Beefy, right?
Right?
Agreed, man.
It's got the most rich beef flavor.
But
And then-
you know the beer, right?
Oh, the beer just really accentuates it all. That stout, it comes through. Stout's great for chocolate. Stout's great for beef. I love this with mashed potatoes and rice and all kinds of starchy goodness.
Whiskey pot roast, a spin on the old classic. So I just browned an enormous chuck roast. Pot roast and chuck roast go hand in hand. And then the pan is so dirty. Look in here, Alex. Look at all that beef goodness in there. And so the pan is really hot, so I'm adding some onion wedges and some cut up carrots. I didn't peel them, but I did wash them. And then I'm gonna get those going. And I'm gonna let these start to brown for about 1 minute. Don't go away. All right, the onions and the carrots have started cooking. So I'm gonna add some tomato paste. It's not exactly a revolutionary ingredient, but when I make pot roast, usually it's just beef savoriness and there's no tomato paste involved. But I'm kind of into it these days. It doesn't make it tomatoey, it just kind of adds a little richness to the broth. So I'm gonna stir it into the bottom of this extremely hot enameled cast iron pan. All right. And now for the drama. I grabbed a bottle of whiskey from my bedside table. Just kidding. And I'm gonna add a cup.
Not funny,
I
Mom.
turned off the burner. I learned the hard way why that is advisable. And then, ooh, that smells so good. And then for the rest of the liquid, I'm gonna add just beef broth, beef stock. Low sodium is best because you can always add more salt later. So you basically want to add enough stock to almost cover the veggies. And then in goes the brown chuck roast. And you want to get all the juices that are on the pan. And I do this with my regular pot roast. Just add whole sprigs of thyme and rosemary. And look how gorgeous this is. And it's not even done yet. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna put the lid on. All right, now it's gonna go into the oven. Now, one of the main recipe questions I get is from people who tried to cook my pot roast and they say, I tried and it was tough. If pot roast is tough, it means it hasn't cooked long enough. Oh, excuse me, I'm so tired. This is wearing me out. So the nature of chuck roast is that you have to cook it low and slow for a certain number of hours for like the connective tissues to soften, and you cannot rush that. So this has been in there for 4 hours. So you can start with like 3 hours and then reach in there with a couple of forks and see if it pulls apart easily. And if it doesn't, just stick it back in. Okay? Oh, that looks delicious. Yum. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, so I'm gonna serve it, and a lot of people put potatoes in their pot roast, but that's against my religion because I feel like they often get overcooked and kind of mealy, so I like to serve pot roast on top of mashed potatoes. I'm just going in with tongs, and oh my heavenly goodness. Look at this. Get a little bit of meat. Oh my gosh, it's just falling apart. You basically want the pot roast to fall apart if you even so much as look at it. And it's happening. It's all coming together, guys. And then always fish out some veggies, carrots, and the onions are almost basically disintegrated, but I can still see some chunks. Oh, I love pot roast. I mean, it's just good. And it kind of makes you feel like everything in life is gonna be okay. And here's a little secret about pot roast. It's even better the next day. So you can like put it in the fridge, let it cool, put the pot in the fridge, and then just heat it up the next day. It's one of those things people never tell you. Look at this. Pot roast with whiskey and mashed potatoes. Wish me luck. I'm going in. What? That is so good.
It's a braised pot roast made with pork, with winter vegetable and stout.
Yeah.
Stout. Okay, so I'm gonna show you like a braising 101.
Okay.
Really important. This is how I braise almost everything. What you add to the braise is up to you. You can like have some fun, and we're gonna do that today. So first of all, the most important thing, we have a boneless pork shoulder. Okay, it's less expensive than, say, a loin roast. And what I've done is I've had the butcher tie it, and you can see it's almost a little dry looking. That's because I've salted it on all sides for 24 hours in the fridge, uncovered, sort of like what you would do a turkey, right? So we talk about that all the time. And then what I'm gonna do is start to sear. Okay, so what we have here in a Dutch oven is some pancetta, and I've rendered it with some sage, okay? And we're gonna get that nice and crispy, and that fat is gonna help sort of like a pork on pork magic go on here, okay? So I'm gonna take this fat, this rendered pancetta out and put it on a sheet pan. We're not gonna throw this away because we're gonna add it to the braise right after. Really
Throw it
important.
away, who would do that?
Never. So Jeff, you have a little 101 on vegetables.
Okay, well, so you've chosen rutabagas and turnips, okay? They're great winter root vegetables to use and braise really well and give it a nice alternative to just a standard potato and carrot.
Yeah, braising 101, we're gonna use that because that's your sort of fun addition, and we're gonna use carrots and onions because I use that for every single braise. Now, as you can see, this is smoking. You want it to smoke, really important, and you wanna put this in fat side down, and you're gonna get a sear of your life. You can just see it's gonna work, right? Very important.
That's because you salted it, dehydrated
You hear that?
the exterior so you get a better crust on it.
Okay, now, I have one here that is going on, and I wanna show you the color. Can you see that?
Wow.
That's really important. You really wanna get color on side. Don't skimp. This is the thing that takes time, but don't mess it up, because once you put it in the oven, you're gonna be done with the dish practically. You're just gonna get some garnish. Okay, so we're gonna pull this out now, and you have here, remember, all that sagey, porky, salty, incredible flavor down in here, and we're gonna add our vegetables. Jeff.
I cut this nice and thick and big,
Great
right?
job.
Because they are gonna break down in that braise. You don't want them to disappear completely.
Carrots, onions, garlic, our rutabaga and turnips. Sorry about that. Our rutabaga and turnips. Okay, and then we're just gonna saute it a bit. And you're not gonna actually cook these. You're just getting them wet and softened with all that fat. So you wanna start the process.
Soak it up.
Oh, this is going great. Now you're getting a real sear on that.
Are you guys braisers? I mean, what do you braise? What meats?
man,
all the
yeah,
time.
I love a good braised pork loin.
Yeah.
I love a braised anything. Let's put it in there and braise it.
I'm gonna add some rosemary, some sage, one of my secret ingredients.
Miso.
Miso.
Oh,
Look at this guy.
Tomato paste. We're gonna give that a quick stir. And then we're gonna add our stout. This is just to get the paste out of the raw stage and get it started to cook. It's gonna cook for 3 hours, so you don't have to worry about it.
and the difference between braising and stewing, the braise is a bigger cut of meat.
Yes.
And the liquid doesn't completely cover it.
Yes,
Whereas the stew, it's smaller cuts of meat
Yeah.
and it's all covered.
Exactly. We're gonna add our stout, 2 bottles.
Double journey over here. Look at this guy.
How long did you practice?
30 years.
Look at that.
We're gonna add our chicken stock, and you can use beef stock, vegetable stock, but what's the point of using vegetable stock in this point, right?
I
Probably
agree.
not.
Just if you've got it in your pantry.
That's right.
And
You're
that's
gonna
the
put
only
this
choice.
back, and you're gonna nestle this. Doesn't that look great? And then the magic. Remember this pancetta with the sage
it's
that we
going
crisped
back
up?
in
That's
there.
going
We're
in
not
there. Yes,
worthy.
exactly.
We're not worthy.
Abracadabra.
We're gonna put this in a 300-degree oven for about 3 to 3.5 hours. Yeah, it's gonna take a long time. And go in there and put a fork in it. It should just like fall apart.
To me, this is
going in
Sunday
there?
perfection.
This is great.
You put this
Sonny, would you open that for
on
me?
and just relax, watch some TV. The house starts to
yes.
smell incredible. And then you bring it out to the table and everyone loses their mind.
Exactly.
Okay, so again, this is something that we had as a child, like all the time. We were always braising because what we were buying is very inexpensive cuts of meat because we didn't have the money to afford filet mignon.
You know?
Just want to take a look at this. Oh,
Oh.
you see that?
Perfection. Stop it.
Isn't that beautiful? Whoa! Now what I've
Stop
done is
it
I've
right
already
now.
removed the string as it was resting, so I just get in there, and now, this is really important. We're gonna put this up just a bit. We're gonna heat this just a second. And so what I'm gonna add to this, if there's any string, just make sure that it's removed. And as you can see, it's a sauce. It's made its own. It's kind of remarkable. The beer and the stock and the fat and the pancetta, everything from the vegetables makes the sauce.
I don't
So
know about
shiny.
y'all, but my mouth is watering.
It is. This is.
It's just like a natural reaction that happens.
It's very rich. I'm gonna add a touch of vinegar.
Yeah.
Sherry
You got
wine
it.
or Chardonnay, a sweeter vinegar.
Okay.
Just a touch. All right. So this is something I really like to sort of make. It's an inexpensive cut of meat, but it doesn't have to look like it's inexpensive.
Yeah.
So we're gonna sort of have some fun with this.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna like, cut this now. This is so moist. I cut it in slightly thicker pieces because if you cut it too
It'll
thin,
shred,
it's just
right?
gonna- Can you see
Oh,
that?
look at that steak.
Can you just see that gorgeousness happening?
It's so jiggly. I love
That's
jiggly
how you
meat.
know it's
I love
juicy.
jiggly meat.
I thought for sure you'd say, go ahead, baby, Jeff. You left me hanging on that.
Sorry. I was too distracted by
I
the
get it.
giant
Okay.
piece of jiggly meat.
So I want to very carefully move this over here because it is going to fall apart if you're not careful. There you go. Okay.
My goodness.
Let's take this sauce, and then we're just going to ladle some of the sauce, and mostly the vegetables. And remember, there's a lot of sauce, but the vegetable, you spent all that time on the vegetables, you really want to put them on top and show them off. I love vegetables, and I love to show them off.
This is the hardest job. You make fun of me for wanting to eat this food. Are you kidding me?
Some fried capers.
Look at this guy.
Okay.
Capers, yeah. A
Okay.
little bit of fried onions.
Yes, I'm into that.
Yes.
Texture, right?
Did you
do
fry
that
those
little
yourself
bit.
or those-
Yes, these are all
canister?
real fried. Some fried parsley, which I love. And
Fried parsley.
I was
my
afraid that was seaweed. I'm glad to hear it's parsley.
fresh mint.
What? Yes.
Fresh mint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love mint and meat. It's so delicious.
Yeah, and a little bit of cilantro to give it that real. When you bring it to the table, it should smell like something.
Look at this.
so
It's a
fantastic.
masterpiece.
Okay. Are we ready? I think it's done.
We are
Is there
ready,
anything-
GC. We've been ready.
Okay. There you go. Pork roast. All right. Jeff,
Yep, I'm
you get
ready.
the taste.
I'm ready.
I'm going to give you the end piece.
I-
Okay. This is
Herb just hit
really.
me in the face. Can you smell it?
Oh, I gotta get some of that Crispies. I mean, I'm gonna say something real quick.
Say something.
All right?
Say something.
This is the best braised dish I've ever had. So
Wow.
you have to make it.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
it's not only the best, but it's probably the easiest, right? And do not neglect the accoutrement on here with the fried capers. So you can get the crunch of the onion and those capers on there is such a nice surprise. But the meat itself and the root vegetables in there give it just this warm, it's like someone literally jumped into my soul, went down my body, and gave my tummy the biggest, loveliest cuddle hug it's had in a very long time.
I had to make a lot of really bad pot roasts before I finally figured it out. But once I cracked the code, I learned to appreciate how beautiful a good pot roast is. I've been browning some onion halves in this pan. Look how gorgeous they are. I love cooked onions. I love brown cooked onions. Now I'm gonna throw in some carrots. And this pan is really, really hot. And the point is to get a little color on these vegetables before we put them all in the pan together and cook the whole thing. I'm gonna grab my meat. Part of why I had to make friends with the pot roast is that I've always had a freezer full of roasts. Those are always the last things to go after the steaks and the hamburgers and the good stuff. And for the longest time, I just could not figure out how to make a good pot roast. Every time I made a pot roast, it was tough. And I thought, erroneously, that I was cooking the pot roast too long. So it was sort of a vicious cycle. The next time I'd make one, I'd cook it a little less. And the next time I'd make it, I'd cook it a little less. But what I didn't know, and what I would soon learn, is that pot roast needs to be cooked for a long, long period of time over low heat in order to dissolve the tough connective tissues in the meat. These carrots are nice and brown. It only took a couple minutes. That's what a hot, hot pan will do for you. Now, this is a chuck roast, which is my favorite cut of roast. Got salt and pepper on it. I'm just gonna press it against the bottom of that pan. Just sear it, get a nice golden brown on both sides. Okay, so I'm just gonna flip this over to the other side. It already smells delicious. And it hasn't even begun to cook yet. Okay, this is nice and brown. Now I'm gonna take the meat out just for a minute. And now I'm gonna grab some beef broth. Okay, that should be good. I've loosened up all those wonderful, flavorful particles in the bottom of the pan. And now I'm just gonna add the meat back into the pan, right into the liquid. And I'll just add the vegetables. And this would be delicious on its own, but I have found that a couple of sprigs of fresh herbs can completely transform a pot roast from delicious to life-changing. I'm using rosemary and thyme. You don't need to chop them up, just throw in the sprigs. Okay, now at this point it gets really, really complicated, so pay attention. You take the lid and you put it on the pot. It's not really complicated, I was just kidding. Now it goes into a 275-degree oven for 3 or 4 hours, depending on the size of your roast. You don't need to fiddle with it, you don't need to stir it, you don't even need to check on it. Just let it go. This looks delicious. This is what pot roast is all about. You try to take it out in one piece, but it falls apart. But that's when you know you've got it right. Now you can shred this with 2 forks. You can slice it with a sharp knife. It really doesn't matter what method you use because it all falls apart anyway.
I'm gonna make pot roast, but with the volume turned up. Lots of red wine, a little bit of cognac, lots of vegetables. It's gonna be delicious. I actually love pot roast. It's really simple enough for every day, but I'm gonna make one that's special enough for company. And there's something about that shared experience, everybody having big pot roast and vegetables out of one pot. It's very earthy and it's comforting. So I have a 5-pound piece of really good quality chuck roast. If I did this with something like a fillet of beef, by the time it was done braising, it would be tough and dry. I want it to be moist and absolutely delicious. I'm going to pat it dry, helps in the searing, and then I'm going to season it. Tablespoon of salt. It sounds like a lot, but it's a big piece of meat. And just all over. And this is going to flavor the meat and the sauce on both sides. I think everybody's secret favorite meal is pot roast. Whenever I serve it, people go, oh, I love pot roast. And a half a tablespoon of pepper. Remember, this is a big piece of meat and you want the flavor to get into the middle. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is flour it, and that's going to help in the searing. So, big handful of flour on a plate. And then just roll the pot roast in it. So this is going to help searing the outside of the pot roast, but what it's also going to do is it's going to thicken the sauce. And this is where the big pot comes in. This is a Dutch oven, and it's just the best pot you can use for pot roast. So I'm just going to heat up about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Just enough to sear the meat all the way around. Just get it really nice and hot. What the searing is going to do is going to seal in the juices, but it's also going to make the sauce taste fantastic. Okay, in goes the beef. It's going to sear about 45 minutes on each side. In the meantime, I'm going to get the vegetables ready. I need 2 cups of carrots. Why mess with something that works? I love classic vegetables for pot roast. Carrots, onions, celery, leeks. I'm going to add a few ingredients from my beef bourguignon, a little wine, a little cognac. I think it's going to be fantastic. And I think this pot roast is ready to be turned. I'm just going to turn it maybe a quarter of a turn so it gets browned all over. Oh, look how gorgeous that looks. Next, I'm going to work on the celery. I need 2 cups of celery. Nice big chunks. You can do it more finely if you like, but I like the sort of earthy, chunky flavor of the big chunks of carrots and celery. I'm going to give the beef another quarter turn, make sure it's browned all over. This is good for the beef, but it also flavors the sauce. The red wine's going to deglaze the pan. Okay, next is the onions. I've got 2 big Spanish onions. You can use regular yellow onions, but these are so much easier. Just give them a big rough dice. I use Spanish onions because they're bigger, they're easier to chop up, and they're sort of sweeter flavor. I wish you could smell this pot roast. It smells fantastic already. Okay, that's 2 Spanish onions. So I'm just going to turn this one more time, just to the final side. When I'm testing recipes, I always keep a notebook nearby, and I'm just going to write down 2 onions so I don't forget. Next are the leeks. The thing about leeks are they're really great. They have really delicate flavor, but they have lots of sand in them, so you have to make sure you wash them really well. So I'm just going to take off the really dark green parts on the top. And then run your knife right down the middle, cut them in half, and then you can see the inside. They make you cry, but it's worth it. Pull apart the leaves a little bit so you make sure that all the sand is out of it. Okay, I'm just going to give them a big rough chop. And these leeks are going to go in with the onions and carrots and celery. It's going to flavor the sauce. Okay, I think the meat's all seared. I'm going to take this big baby out, put it on a plate, and then start making the sauce. Whoa. And put a little bit more olive oil in, and then I'm going to sear all the vegetables. Get them nice and browned and caramelized. It's kind of like making soup. You always want to start with the vegetables and get them nice and brown. I'm going to cook them for about 10 minutes until they just start to get tender. And then I'll make the sauce and then put the beef right back in and cook them all together. This is a pot roast. This actually makes a lot of sauce, but what I love to do is have some sauce left over for the next day, put it on pasta, have a fabulous pasta bolognese. Okay, while that cooks, I'm going to put some garlic in. I actually don't think garlic was in my original recipe, but you know that beef bourguignon thing? I thought it'd be great with garlic. And instead of chopping it up, I'm just gonna smash them, and it's gonna dissolve into the sauce. And the garlic goes right in with the vegetables, with a tablespoon of salt, and a half a tablespoon of pepper. Give it a big stir. This smells fantastic. So I have to work tonight. I'm gonna be home by myself. I don't know, whole pot roast's a bit much. Easy enough for every day and delicious for company. So the next thing I need is a bouquet garni, which is basically herbs all tied up. I can chop up the herbs, I can take off the leaves, but you know what? If I just tie it up with a string, then at the end I can just fish the stems right out. It's so much easier. Bouquet garni can be really any kind of herbs, but I'm using thyme and rosemary from my garden. Sometimes what the French do is they like hang the string over the side of the pot, but we'll be able to fish it out. Right in. It's gonna flavor it, it's gonna be fantastic. I think I'll make a note of those herbs, otherwise I'll definitely forget. So thyme and rosemary. Okay, next some red wine. I like to use Burgundy for this. About 2 cups right in the pan. And what this is gonna do is gonna flavor the sauce, but it's also gonna deglaze the pan. So all that crusty stuff from the beef and from searing the vegetables is gonna end up in the sauce. And then just to make it a little extra special, 2 tablespoons of cognac. Gives it that nice hit. And this is smelling pretty good. Okay, next is 1 can of whole plum tomatoes. I actually choose the tomatoes that are in tomato puree, so it's even thicker. 1 cup of chicken stock. I use homemade chicken stock, if you can. It really does make a difference. And then if you have it around the house, I actually even give it more flavor by using a chicken bouillon cube. It just really intensifies the flavor. If you don't have it, don't worry about it, but it'll be even better. This is all about flavor. 2 teaspoons of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper. Give it a big stir. This just smells so good. Tomatoes and the wine, celery and carrots. Fantastic. It's gonna make such a good sauce. Now it's just time to put the beef in. Oh, this is some large pot roast. Just slide it right in, and that's what's gonna make it taste moist and delicious. All the gorgeous sauce. I'm just gonna bring it up to a simmer, and then it's gonna go into the oven and it's gonna cook for several hours until it's meltingly delicious. Okay, so the sauce is up to a simmer, and this is the special part of this dish. Usually you have to stand over a stove, lower the heat, raise the heat, lower the heat, watch it. Forget all that. Just put the lid on, and I'll put the whole thing in the oven, 325 for an hour, then I'll lower the heat for another hour, and it's gonna cook all by itself. I'm not even gonna watch. Pot roast, it's one of those great comfort foods. Oh God, that smells so good. But it's usually not special enough for company. So I've decided to turn up the volume and use flavors from beef bourguignon and make a really good pot roast. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take the meat out of the sauce, and it's just been simmering in here. So it's absolutely delicious and tender, really tender. The sauce, I don't like it too chunky, but I don't like it too smooth. So I'm gonna take the sauce, well first I'm gonna skim off some of the fat. And then I'm gonna fish out that bouquet garni. You know the herbs that I tied together? First I have to find them. Oh, here they are. So much easier to fish out if they're all tied together. Okay, I'm gonna puree half the sauce. I like it chunky, a little pureed, and I get the best of both worlds by pureeing half of it. Lots of chunky vegetables, all cooked for hours. They're just so good. Just like that. Just give it a whir. Okay, back in the pot. See, it's nice and thick now. So this looks perfect. So the sauce is a little thickened, but I'm gonna thicken it even more. I need 1 tablespoon of butter, room temperature butter, 2 tablespoons of flour. If anybody's made gravy and found lumps in the gravy, it's because they didn't do this. If you put the flour directly in, it just gets really lumpy. But if you mash it with butter, it makes the perfect mixture. Okay, just mash it together with a fork until all the flour is gone. It's one mixture. Okay, I'm just gonna put that right into the sauce. Just cook it over a low heat, just until the flavor of the flour is gone. Sometimes I make this in advance and I slice the meat and put it right back in the sauce. I can reheat it in a day or two for dinner. So while the sauce simmers away, I'm gonna carve the meat. First thing I need to do is remove the string. Nice thick slices. Just gonna cover this with sauce. It's gonna absorb into the meat. It's gonna be so good. Baked potatoes with sour cream. Who wouldn't want that for dinner? I would say this is pot roast, good enough for company.
That's good.
Yes, you guys, I have Ina's company pot roast.
Pot roast. I mean, who doesn't like pot roast? But what makes this pot roast so special is it is a pot roast for any season. We're gonna braise it and cook it really slow, which gives you all that rich deliciousness that you wanna kind of cuddle up with that makes pot roast so special. So it's great for the cooler days, but then we're gonna give it a little Mediterranean finish. It has the roasted carrots in there, some fresh mint, some lemon zest. It's really gonna brighten it up. So this is a pot roast that is every bit as comfortable in the summertime as it is by a fire in the winter. Now, a great little tip for large format cuts of meat like this. This is a chuck roast, a blade chuck roast, and I like to salt this the night before if I have time. It allows the salt to kind of penetrate down into the meat. It also makes the meat a little bit more tender, breaks down the cell structure of the meat a little bit, so it gives you even a more flavorful pot roast. Now, if you got this the day of and you had to start cooking, you could season it and let it go. Keep the seasoning on as long as you can, but if you can do this overnight, it is beneficial and you are gonna get better flavors. So I have kosher salt here, a big hunk of meat, so you need a good amount of salt. So we salt it pretty liberally on all sides. And the thing is, once you put this in your fridge uncovered, you are going to see that the salt goes into the meat. You will not see it in the morning. And a little bit of moisture or water is gonna come out of the meat, which is gonna help you intensify the flavor of the beef, and it's also gonna break down that structure a little bit to make things a little bit more tender. I like to put this on a rack, keep it off the tray, give my hands a quick wash. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna press pause, we're gonna put this in the fridge, and I'll see you in the morning. Hey everybody, welcome back. A little Simon Says pot roast happening. So while we were away, I preset my oven to 350 degrees, so that is warming up. We took our pot roast out of the fridge. Now, when you look at this, you could see how it has changed in look a little bit. It's got a deeper red right here, which is because some of that moisture came off. We also let it uncovered, which forms almost like a pellicle on the exterior, which is gonna allow us to get that really good caramelization and browning on there. And what you can't see is inside the meat, some of that moisture stuff has been released and the cell structure of the meat has changed a little bit, which is gonna make it more tender. So here's what salting in advance does for you. It gives you better flavor, it makes sure that the meat is seasoned all the way through, and it's gonna help the meat become a little bit more tender as you cook it. So that is a win-win for me if you have the time to do it. Now, I'm gonna move this out of the way for just a moment, and we're gonna start working on our bacon. Now, those of you that know me know that I have a love affair with bacon. It is, like people say now, oh, bacon's trendy, everybody uses bacon, it's easy to make things good with bacon. All those things are true. I've loved bacon since I was a little kid. I still love bacon. I'm gonna love bacon till the day I die. My grandfather's 102, he eats bacon every day, and I will eat bacon just like him. So, we have slab bacon today, and what I did is this a little trick. If you wanna cut slab bacon into big chunks, what I did was we placed it in our freezer for just about 10 minutes before I started working for it. it just firms it up a little bit because bacon obviously has a lot of fat in it. And when that gets warm or comes to room temperature, it gets a little bit harder to work with. So freezing it just firms it up. I'm gonna take my range and turn it up to about medium. I have a Dutch oven here. To me, if you could have any pan at home, one of the ones that you should really look into is a Dutch oven. You could roast in it, you could braise in it, especially these cast enamel ones, they last forever. Great piece of equipment. I am gonna cut my bacon in pretty large chunks. So I'm gonna go straight down here, and then I'm just gonna cut these into like lardons. Like sometimes you get those salads, if you go to a French restaurant every once in a while, that frisee salad with those big chunks of bacon, the poached eggs, that's how we're gonna cut our bacon here. And we're gonna render the bacon first, and the bacon is gonna release a good amount of fat, which is then gonna be what we cook everything else in. So this is a win-win for everyone. And you can see, because the bacon was frozen, it doesn't kind of smash down as I'm cutting it. So here, when you look at this, you have the fat and the meat part. So you want to cut that way down. Go straight down there so you get that nice balance of fat and meat. If you cut it the other way, you're going to get the fat cap and then the meat. So you want it to look almost like 50-50 as you're cutting it. And I would just say, you know, find somebody or a brand that you really like, and when you could get slab bacon, it is a great option. You know, growing up in Cleveland, there were a lot of vendors throughout the market that smoked their own bacon and made slab bacon. And now at the restaurants and at home, we make our own bacon, which makes me very happy also. All right, let's continue to get this cut up. And then we just start rendering this out. Now, depending on some of the times with recipes and when you're cooking, you know, a recipe will say one thing, but sometimes a little bit of judgment needs to be made too. So with bacon, if you look at the bacon and the bacon looks a little bit on the lean side to you, it's okay to put a little bit of olive oil or an oil in the pan to kind of get that fat moving. This looks pretty good. I'm just gonna put in a small splash of oil, and this is just gonna help kind of the fat and everything get moving. So that is a judgment call for you. So bacon goes in, and we are gonna let the bacon start to render out. Remember too, another thing with bacon, when you're working with it, bacon has already been cooked. So when you buy bacon at the store, it's been cured and smoked, which means it's cooked through already. All we're doing is deciding on how much crispiness and texture and so forth that we want with the bacon when it's going in the pan. So you don't have to worry about when with bacon, like, did I cook this enough? Is it undercooked? Cook it till the crispiness that you desire. And as that's going, I'm just gonna start working on some of my vegetables before we even get the meat going. I have shallots, carrots, thyme, garlic, and coriander seed. So with the thyme, we're just gonna tie off about 10 sprigs of thyme. That's gonna go in. You don't have to tie it off. The reason that I do is because it makes it easy to remove once it is all done. So I'm just gonna do this first. Kind of get all of our, in professional kitchens, they say, you know, get your mise en place together. It means everything in place. But you just wanna kind of prep as you go. That way you're not wasting any time. Shallots, we're gonna start to peel. So I'm gonna remove both ends of the shallots, and then we will just peel those. With carrots, I talk about this a lot during these cooking classes. I like to buy like a small, medium-sized organic carrot, clean them real good, and I leave the skins on. If they look really dirty to you, or the skin looks beat up, or you know, you're not comfortable doing it, peel them. I don't peel them. All right. Shallots, bacon's looking good. Keep that going. Let's continue to work on these guys. But really, the great thing about pot roasts and braises, and you know, there's been a lot of popularity now with pressure cookers and Instapots and things like that. A couple things that I love about braises is one, it's like having a meat candle in your house. Your whole house smells good for the entire process. Like, it really makes things smell great. And then the other thing is when you do a classic braise like this, as the meat is cooking, the liquid is evaporating, which is intensifying all the flavors. In a crock pot or Instapot or, you know, pick one of those, there's very little evaporation of liquid, so you don't get those deep, robust flavors. Now, will you save an hour, 2 hours, whatever, you not have to watch it or any of those kind of things? Yes, all that is true, and I know some people are limited with time and you know, how much time they could sit over something. But you will never get the same flavors as you do with the braise. So even if this maybe ends up being a Sunday meal for you, something that you just do one day a week on Sundays because you could take a little bit more time over the stove, that is totally fine, but I would recommend it no matter how much you may be in love with some of those other equipments in your house. This is really where you get maximum flavor. And remember, before the crock pot, a cast enamel pot, a Dutch oven, was like the crock pot. Okay, just keep peeling. It's more fun doing some of these at the restaurant because you have someone to do this for you. You can see that at grocery stores though now. One thing that has changed a lot since I've been little or younger is that you can find grocery stores that actually do this work for you, where they peel the shallots or they cut vegetables and things of that nature. Not the ones that are like in glass jars, but they're actually prepped and packaged by the store. So you can assure that they're still fresh. They do cost a little bit more, but they do save you time. I don't recommend buying like pre-sliced, pre-roasted, pre-sliced garlic that's all jarred because that's a different situation. All right, we're almost to our shallots. By the time we are through with the shallots, I'm gonna have the bacon at a place that I like it. And again, if you want it to be a little bit more crispy, you can make it more crispy, but remember, this is a braised dish, so even as you crisp it, it's still gonna get soft through the cooking procedure. But I like to get a little bit of caramelization on there for flavor. It also helps some caramelization happen at the bottom of the pan, or that fond, which is then gonna come up into our sauce, which is really gonna make the pot roast big, big flavors. I'm telling you, I could peel. Do more. I think when they were shopping for shallots for me, they made sure that every shallot that they bought had 2 heads in it, just to test my patience today. But I'm not backing down. I'm sticking with it. One more to go. But again, you could see a lot of times with cooking, you know, when you're cooking, it's all about timing everything to make the job as easy as possible. So while you have dead time, which would be the bacon browning, it also gives you a moment to peel the shallots. So the bacon is ready. I'm gonna remove that to my plate. Turn the heat down just a touch. And you can see that because these are nice big chunks of bacon, you get a little bit of that crispiness on the outside, but it's still gonna be really meaty on the inside, which is what I want in a stew or a braise like this. What I don't want is thin little chunks of bacon because they're just gonna go away and be almost unidentifiable. So, bacon is browned. Now we are going to put in our pot roast that we have seasoned already, so you don't need to add any more seasoning to this. And we're just gonna put this right in that rendered bacon fat. I'm gonna turn my heat back up to high. And I'm just gonna let this continue to brown on, we're gonna get it browned on kind of all sides. Really hard sear on the larger pieces. Do not cheat this step. A lot of times people put meat in a pan, they start moving it around, dancing around, doing the, you know, the jig. You really have to let this caramelize and get that right on the edge of like, you're like, oh my gosh, I think it's almost burnt. That's when you flip it. That deep caramelization is where you get those deep, luscious flavors that everybody loves about a braise. So take your time here. And because I have a little bit of time, I could continue to work on my vegetables. So I'm gonna get my carrots cut, I'm gonna get my garlic peeled and smashed, and so we have a little bit of time to go through this process here. When you look down at your carrots, kind of keep them the same thickness and so forth as your shallots, so everybody is cooking at the same time. Put these in my little bowl. Now we'll start peeling our garlic. Today I'm gonna use about 5 cloves. If you like more garlic, add more garlic. If you don't like garlic, use less garlic. And what I really always want to show with any of my cooking classes is, to me, it's imperative you learn the technique. Because if you learn this technique, you could make hundreds of different kinds of braises and change the ingredients within them as you go. You could use pork instead of beef. You could use turnips instead of carrots, whatever it is. You could add more garlic, less garlic. You could make it spicy. But the key here is the technique of the braise. So I'm gonna get all this, okay. Rest goes in my compost. I'm gonna use 6 of the largest cloves in here. 4, 5, 6. Save these 3 for a rainy day or a vampire. Take off the edge. And then I'm just gonna give these a little smash and a peel. This should be good and brown. All right, that's what I'm looking for. You guys see that? We didn't move it, we didn't touch it, nothing happened. We just worked on our vegetables. And we got that great caramelization because the pan is doing a lot of the work for us. And that's really why you buy these cast enamel or a cast iron or a heavy pan that conducts heat really nicely. You're letting it do all the heavy lifting as you go. So now the garlic, just give it a little pop with the knife. Peel off the skin, and we're not even gonna slice this up. Just gonna leave it whole. Good trick with garlic too is if you need to do a lot of it at a time, you could put it in between 2 metal mixing bowls and shake, and it'll pop all these skins right off. So if you're not into the tedious part of this process, that works too. One of these had 2 cloves in it, so there's our 6. Goes over here. Wipe down our cutting board. All right. Again, good caramelization. I'm gonna get these other 2 sides. So as I'm getting the sides, I have a little bit more room in the pan over here. So I'm gonna just let my vegetables start to brown in there a little bit. And then we'll finish it when we pull out the rest of this meat. So we got great caramelization on both sides. I'm just searing the other 2 sides. Then this goes off to a pan, and we could add the rest of our vegetables, season them, and continue to build the braise. All right, so carrots and onions are in. Again, now we have that beautiful rendered bacon fat in there. We also have a little bit of rendered fat from the beef. We had the garlic. I have my thyme bundle. Just gonna set that, tie it to the handle so it's easy to get off later. And now we're gonna deglaze the pan. So you could use, in this type of pan, you could use a metal spoon. You could use metal, wooden, either one works. So we have beer, we have cider, and we have stock. The recipe called for 4 beers. Some of that may be because you just want an extra one for yourself. So we're gonna go 2 cups of the cider. Maybe 3 to 4 beers, depending on what time of the day it is for you cooking. If you're starting this in the morning, you could put it all in your pot roast. If this is an afternoon project, go 3 beers and save 1 for yourself. All right, 2 cups of cider. And now you just want to rub the bottom of that pan. There we go, here's a wooden spoon. This is better. So you had all that beautiful caramelization at the bottom of the pan. Once you add your first amount of liquid in, you want to scrape the bottom of the pan with your wooden spoon to pull that caramelization or that fond into the sauce. Never waste a moment to get flavor. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of toasted coriander seeds, 2 whole bay leaves, dried or fresh, depending on what you can find. Couple beers. Use what, you know, I'm using a lager here, a porter would work. Really, it's kind of, I feel beer is like wine, and you hear cooks and chefs say this all the time, use one that you love to drink, and I do think that that is true here too. You know, if the wine or beer tastes bad to you out of the bottle, it's not going to taste good in your dish, especially because this is reducing as it's cooking. So it's actually going to intensify the flavors as it goes. Continue to bring this up to a simmer. Have our stock. I always like to have extra stock on hand, but visually we're going to see where we end up in the liquid. Remember, a braise is different. It's not boiled meat, it's braised meat. So we want to cover the meat about 3/4 and keep that top quarter exposed, and we'll baste it as we're going. If we see that's caramelizing too much as we go, we can even give it a flip and continue that way. So in recipes, I typically tell you to have, you know, more stock than you may need. So let's look at this. So we're just about exposed here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of stock in so I can keep the top of that meat exposed. We're going to add our crisp bacon back to our braise. I'm going to put this lid on, and we're going to let this go for about 3 to 4 hours until it is incredibly tender. So hit pause. We'll see you in a bit. Hey everybody, welcome back. So the pot roast was in the oven for about 4 hours. It is looking and smelling fantastic in here. And you could see when I take the lid off, the liquid is still slightly below the meat. We got some good caramelization right on there. All those vegetables are tender too now. This is what makes me very happy. So when you look at this, it's so tender. As I'm grabbing it with these meat forks, it just totally breaks apart. And what I like to do is I break up the meat a little bit right in the broth, and then we could spoon it out and start building our plate from there. So this way, when you pull it apart in here, it kind of gets the benefit of getting some of that extra juice on there. So now we're going to take some nice chunks. Oh, the lucky bay leaf, remove that. We're just going to start putting some good chunks in our serving vessel. And it's just meltingly tender. Some bacon chunks in there. Oh yeah. This was one of my favorite things growing up. My mom is Greek and Sicilian, so when she made this, she would actually put in a little bit of tomato sauce too in the broth. And I like that method too. And again, the technique is exactly the same. She would just add some tomatoes because that's how she liked to roll. I keep mine a little bit more on the brothy side because it's how I enjoy it, but you should make this how you enjoy it best. So we have those vegetables, the shallots, the chunks of garlic, the carrots. You could really smell the thyme. Here's the beautiful thing about bundling the thyme. It's just so easy to pull out, just like that. And now I'm gonna take some fresh mint. And what I like to do with mint is such a soft herb. I don't feel the need to kind of slice it, chop it, dice it. I just pick it, and then I'm gonna tear it and place it right on top. And I think any soft herb works very nice here. Basil would be good, flat leaf parsley would be good, cilantro. I like kind of that Sicilian / Greek flair of the mint and how it brightens up the whole dish. Take a little bit of lemon zest on top. And now I'm just gonna grab some extra broth. And if you're serving this for your friends, you could either do the broth on the side and they could add it, but I like to put a little bit of broth after I put the mint and the lemon in there, because when that hot broth hits the mint and the lemon zest, it helps it release its oils. So it really just perfumes the whole broth. All right, let's see what we got. A little snack for Mikey. I'm a growing boy. So bacon, carrots, pot roast. I got myself a shallot, a little bit of herbage. Come here. And I also think it's important, I don't even need the knife. I also think it's important to give this all a taste before you feed your friends. See if it needs a little bit of salt. See if it needs a little bit more pepper. Maybe you want to hit it with some more lemon. All your choices. So those carrots cooked in that beef broth, so good. The meat, you could see, I could just break it apart with my fork. Don't even need a knife. Those great bacon lardons that we cut earlier and seared off. See how they stayed big, nice, and chunky? Like me. Perfect. All right, that's it. Little Simon Says pot roast. I hope you get in the kitchen and try this one. Remember, because of the mint, because of the lemon, it is great for every season. It's gonna blow your friends away. Inexpensive, delicious, hearty. It hits every note. We'll see you later. Take care.